Good afternoon, and welcome to 365 Days of Stories with Theo Mayer. I have decided on every seventh day, which is going to be every Saturday, to do stories from my own life. And I'm going to be titling it Life as a Steward. So what does that even mean, life as a steward? I think if we explore the meaning of the word stewardship, maybe then we begin to understand what it is to be a steward. But what does it mean, stewardship? What is that anyway? I've thought about this a lot in my life, and when I look back on these many years that I've been on the planet, I see this thread of experience and knowledge gained that seems almost directed. And I feel like I was given all of these opportunities to learn what it truly means to be a steward of the earth. But then, how do you become a steward of the earth? I mean, if you're not taking care of yourself, there's no way you can steward anything. So stewardship really begins with stewarding the self. But the truth is, as a young person, we don't even know about that. When really does it dawn on us that we need to be looking inside and figuring out who we are? Because in the beginning, it seems we just know who we are. And for how many years does that go on? It's hard to say. Maybe until we're in our early teens? Maybe before that. Or maybe a little bit after that, we begin to explore what it means to be a self. Our early days certainly mold us. They certainly, I think, determine to a certain extent what we will end up unconsciously and perhaps habitually becoming. And fortunately for me, I had some pretty remarkable experiences as a young person. And I would say it had to start off, of course, in my family. My mom and dad seemed to feel very comfortable with myself and my two older brothers being free to roam through our neighborhoods, woods, and explore without supervision, without worrying about us being taken away by somebody or something disastrous happening. And as a result of that freedom, the world was just open to explore. Now, I grew up on a little street called Wood Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, and at the end of that street, there was a trail that led into an extensive green space and a nature preserve. 2,300 acres, though it was divided by a road. I spent a lot of time in those woods and explored every trail that there was, made some of my own, and did so mostly on my own. The truth is, there weren't a lot of other kids that were interested in roaming around in the woods a whole lot even then. It was more interesting to play some kind of game or do something inside a house, it seemed. Now, first 9 years were on Wood Avenue, and then my family ended up moving probably a quarter mile away to another street, Evanswood, We moved to 518 Evanswood Place, and our backyard, which we had an acre of land, and a huge backyard. The whole side of the backyard was right up against that nature preserve. And so now suddenly all I had to do was walk out our kitchen door, which was in the back of the house, down some stairs, and I was right off into the woods. Now, as a result of that keen interest in nature, things just naturally seemed to happen. I brought home a lot of birds that I found that had fallen out of nests, nurtured them until they were able to make it on their own. Squirrels, mice, chipmunks, whatever it was that I ran across that needed help, I would bring those animals home and take care of them. And I began to feel a deep, deep love for the rest of the life that I was sharing this planet with. I think it is love that really begins to orient us to being stewards, because we begin to care about the rest of the life, and we begin to perhaps think about how our actions affect the rest of life on the planet. Around sixth grade, I actually started off in a public school, ended up going to a private school called Lots Beach. And the amazing thing was that the principal there, Ted Werfel, used to take the sixth grade class out bird watching every Friday afternoon. And then at the end of bird watching for about an hour with Ted, he would just leave us free to roam through this wild part of the campus. At that school, we also made insect collections in fifth grade, which unfortunately involved killing the insects and mounting them in a collection, but was fascinating to do. It was a school that really oriented me more to that outdoor world. And during that time, I met one of my classmates, became good friends with him, Mike Moore, not the producer. And Mike joined a club at the Cincinnati Zoo. It was called the Junior Zoologist Club, headed up by Barry Wakeman, who was the zoologist at the zoo. And he invited me to come one Saturday, which I did. And it was really cool. And Barry became a really important mentor in my life. So there's a short beginning. And next Saturday, I'm going to tell you about Barry Wakeman, who was a really amazing person and influenced a lot of young people's lives, and I'm sure older people's lives as well, through the creation of the Junior Zoologist Club. I'm going to tell you how cool it was to be a member of that and the amazing things that we did that, again, just continued to culture this love for the rest of the life of the planet, and how important it was that we take care of it. All right, thank you. Have a good day.